Okay, a busy day. Let's get right to it. Mike Eppel joining us now right on over here. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Melanie. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Let's get to the markets first. There was some time off, then they came back, and then, slump city.
Yeah, it looks like we had a bear market bounce yesterday with everything way up after a three-day weekend on Wall Street. This morning, everything's back way down again. And this happens if you look at market dynamics and historical trends. When you're in a bear market, where the markets are right now, they're all down 20, 30% from the peaks. You'll see these big single-day or multi-day upswings, and you think everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, very quickly, the R word in this case is rippling through. Recession is the talk this morning. As interest rates are going up at central banks, we'll hear from the U.S. Fed chair again today, Jay Powell, to talk about raising interest rates in the U.S. or basically laying the groundwork for that again. Does this tip the balance for the global economy into a recession in 2023? That's the buzz this morning. So I'm looking right now at the Dow futures down 400 points. The Dow was up 600 yesterday. The price for oil, this is going to be interesting. Price for oil is down right now by 4.5%. It's at $104 U.S. per barrel. And we're just getting the word out of Washington this morning that the Biden administration is going to move forward with this idea of removing the federal gas tax this summer for American drivers. That'll cut the cost at the pumps by about 18 cents per gallon. So you're starting to see some maneuvers here by, in this case, the U.S. government to try to lower consumer prices. All about inflation. That is going to put a huge amount of pressure on our federal government to follow that lead. We're going to get a gas tax cut here July 1st from the Ford government locally in Ontario, but nationwide, you watch, this is going to be the big talk this morning and going forward for the Trudeau government to also offer some cost relief. Because, look, the top three issues right now for voters and consumers, Melanie, is inflation, inflation, inflation.
Those three.
Got to do something about it.
In that order.
And
a lot of pressure. And there have been many calls for this to happen. So perhaps what's happening south of the border will make that.
And the problem is it's going to go exactly against the federal government's mandate related to moving consumers away from fossil fuels, right? Because the carbon tax has gone up. So it's going to be an interesting summer, to say the least, in the next couple of weeks here. For the feds.
As we continue to talk about inflation, Mike, we're expecting some numbers out later on this morning. And
this is going to be the exact indicator of how much we're paying more for everything this year with the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, expected to show a multi-decade high of 7.3% for the month of May. It's over 8% in the U.S. Of course, they are tabulated a little bit differently, but nevertheless, it's just, look, costs have gone through the roof. And they got to, do something to pull this inflation rate back down. They want to hit a 2% target, Melanie. So what is that? How do you do that? You have to raise interest rates aggressively. And how you're not going to tip the economy into a recession, it's almost next to impossible. So they kind of dug the hole here by cutting interest rates as low as they did for too long. That was the problem. They kept rates too low. And now they got to flip the switch on the other way.
Mike, looking at, say, gas prices, you would think that the trend for certain things like recreational vehicles, maybe people would be taken aback by it, but it's going the opposite direction, right? People are saying, no, I'm still doing this.
People have been cooped up, right, for the past couple of years, it seems. And one thing that was a growing industry through the pandemic was camping. Getting out on the road and going to campgrounds, because those were open, and as opposed to flying or taking a train any place, people were traveling in as much as they could in recreational vehicles. RV sales have been very strong, and you're thinking, okay, you're pulling one of those trailers or driving a self-contained model, getting maybe 10 miles to the gallon at best, so it's gotten much more expensive. But all of the stats I'm looking at this morning, RV sales are up year over year compared to just last year when sales were really strong. Thor Industries is one of the largest makers of recreational vehicles. It's got something like a 14-month backlog of orders. It's just remarkable, and nobody's canceling. So, maybe people are just traveling closer.
Sure.
Maybe not going as far as maybe they did before.
They're still getting the experience when you're in one of those
exactly
RVs, right? We got to get Sid inside one of those. See, camping's fun. Camping's fun, Sid. He's still not going to get. No, he says it's fun.
Only camping with Eppel.
Okay. Eppel by the campfire. I see this.
You camp with me. You're in a hard side trailer. You're
Okay.
living on life. You're not in a tent.
I see a segment.
Which is where we started. You go tent.
Yes.
And pop tent, hard side hybrid, and then.
And then you're in a cottage. Then you're glamping. All right. Okay, we'll set this one up, Mike. We'll talk to you again tomorrow with some ideas.